RKOs for $5 a piece in 1947. And we made a lot of product on those tables. I think one of the things I remember is taking a nap on those tables, probably when I was 3 or 4 years old. So I was an only kid, and if my parents had to go down to work, it was really a mom and pop type business. And if they had to go down to work, well, I was down there too. And I remember taking a nap on these tables. And we had these tables up to the day Don Post Studios died. And
Really?
yeah, we had those tables. So you can imagine it, trying to depreciate $5 over 60-some years. It was a good, that was a good investment. So I got to be around that. And the only thing I really knew is that my dad was in charge of it. And I had a lot of pride in that, and a lot of sense of belonging and being just from being around that atmosphere. And I remember telling my dad one time, I said, I'll bet there's never been a project that you haven't been able to solve or complete. He said, you betcha. I don't know whether that's true or not. He made it feel like he was some kind of genius. And in growing up then, when you go to bed at night, you know that things are still going to be there in the morning. And life is going to go on, and you can rely on things being the same. And that's a big comfort, I think, to a kid.
And then you give your own kids that same comfort. That's pretty great. And
maybe.
Well, I don't know. Well, I know it was fun. At some point, though, when it was time to go into the mass business, you went into the Navy, right?
No.
Baseball?
I went into the Coast Guard.
Coast Guard.
I served 2 years in the Coast Guard. And you know, when you're going through growing up, you kind of have to find your own way and make your own decisions. There was someone here yesterday, this family I knew, and I've known her since she was 7. And then later on, we went to church together. These folks over here, and their family, and I kind of built on that. And before I was involved with Don Post Studios, I was involved in these people too. And then I got involved with this troublemaker over here, Sharon. So, yeah, and she's been a lot of trouble in my life. So, I kind of found my way. I didn't know what I was going to be or that I was going to continue on in Don Post Studios. It was probably in the back of my mind. When I got out of the service, the first day, John Chambers was down at Don Post Studios, and he said, you come by the makeup unit, we'll get you signed up as an apprentice. You could be a makeup artist. And I said to my dad, I said, I'd rather be here. I said, I think there's a lot of potential. This is a company that in 1968 did $38,000 worth of business total. And it was enough for my dad to, support himself. And although it had been a little bit bigger years before, that's what it was when I walked in there. And I said I thought it had potential. And my dad said, he says, you can do whatever you want. He says, there it is, you can do whatever you want. So it was just kind of handed to me, the opportunity to do something with Don Post Studios. And this was July 5th, 1968. So July 6th, which I think was a Tuesday, I climbed in behind the spray booth and I started painting masks. And that's what I did in 1968. I flat out, that's all I did, is paint masks. And in 1969, that's all I did, is paint masks, along with a couple other people that came in and painted masks with me. And they were people like most of you. They were young kids who were interested in makeup and special effects, and they just came in and did that. One of the guys I remember, he was a kind of a naive guy, but very smart, straight A student at college. And he wanted to be a makeup artist. And it was a lot of, it was very interesting to see him that year because, you know, he worked on masks and Ben Lane came in and he said, "Oh, Mr. Lane, yeah, I want to be a makeup artist." He said, "Well, I got a job for you, makeup job." So he sent this kid out to work on a movie. It was a porno movie. And so, and this guy was a very kind of conservative guy. And he told me later that he said, "Oh," he says, "the lady working in the movie, she was really a nice lady." And she had a child. And he's telling me all about her, and he says, "I was so embarrassed when during a break they called me in and said, put a little rose on her cheek." So he went to put some rose on her cheeks, and they said, "No, not those cheeks." Oh, no. Come on. How can it happen?
What was the name of that makeup artist?
I can't remember. I can't remember because it's been too long.